and welcome to another edition of the House Whisperer Show, right here on WWDB Talk 860 and WWDBAM.com. I have to keep in consideration that there are people listening to us all over the Delaware Valley with this huge signal, plus people thousands of miles away online and on their smartphones. Stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your house from the roof to the basement, featuring professional home inspector Jack Milne, who tells us that every house has a story. I'm Barry Reisman, welcoming Jack back to WWDB. How you doing today, Jack?
I'm great, Barry. I can't believe here's the first Sunday of September.
Yeah, where did it all go? Who knows?
Yeah, I know, and and I think of the words welcome, and of course, welcome back. And it's to me, this past week was just full of craziness. And now we have new schedules for the kids, the wives, the school teachers, the bus drivers, and everyone else that affects the start of school. And as a home inspector, we're now in what we call the Labor Day lull. Real estate tends to slow down, and it can take maybe 2 to 3 weeks to get the motor started again. But I can tell you the market as to prices and mortgage rates are still stable. Those home buyers who are out of college now for a few years without children, or who have children too young for school, this is really your time to buy. And if you live in an apartment or a condo and you really want that single family home, and your student loans are under control, this is your market. And as sellers, with fall around the corner, daylight disappearing a little bit more every night, sellers may tend to get a little bit anxious to lower their prices, and especially if the house has been on the market for more than 120 days. So what I find, with prices being stable, and if you have a young family or newlyweds, look around. Rents right now are really at an all-time high, as you probably well know. And those landlords like to raise their rents every year. So, put your toe in the water and look what's around you. And I think the hardest thing to do is to take that step off the diving board, being a former swimmer. So that would be my advice at this time of year. If you're an empty nester and you want to get away, September to me is the best month of the year. The ocean is still warm. The crowds are gone. There's peace and tranquility. You can walk the boardwalk without getting run over by a bicycle. And it's really a gem to be at the beach in September. So today's topic, notice how I'm saying this, it's time to relax. So let's talk about hot tubs. But before we kick in, I always like to thank my sponsors, because without them, you wouldn't be hearing my voice today. So Burrow Exterminating out of Glenolden, Pennsylvania, they do termite and radon testing. They can be reached at 610-586-5640, and their website is burrowexterminating.com. Bucksmont Inspections, again, if you live in the country where you have on-site sewage, or even if you don't live in the country, you have a nice two-story colonial, whatever, with a basement and that has a bathroom with a macerator pump, you should install a pump alarm in case that pump fails. So you can reach out to them at 215-669-4213, or bucksmontinspections.com is their website. Pest Blaster out of Hamilton, New Jersey. But they do serve a very large portion of Pennsylvania for us as well, and most of New Jersey. So, again, they deal with radon, mold, wood-destroying insects, pest removal, and their number is 215-295-5555. And their website is pestblaster.com. BrainFlushGear.com. Again, we talk pretty often, and it's just nice to see, what some of the new ideas are that are coming out with some of their clientele. So if you want something eclectic, exciting, or just plain right funky, just reach out to BrainFlushGear.com, and they do have an email, a contact at BrainFlushGear.com if you want to communicate that way. Tri-County Inspection Company. Of course, everybody knows I've owned that for almost now 30 years. It's really cool. 215-295-2030 is our Bucks and Montgomery County numbers, also for Philly. In the Delaware County area, 610-296-2004. And in North Jersey, let's give that number, 609-882-5188. You can find out a little bit more about the company and all my inspectors and staff at tcinspect.com. So let's talk hot tubs. But I have to say this. This idea was given to me via the email box. So let's kick into a letter from Kevin, who was from Lambertville, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. You know, Lambertville is quite a quaint town. It's not as crazy as New Hope, but if you haven't been there, it is on the Delaware River, and it's got some great shops. It's got some super restaurants.
I love Lambertville. It's a great place to go. Love it.
And they also are known for their festivals. Look them up. And I always find that people that live in Lambertville, when they move, they stay in town. Again, without the hustle and bustle of New Hope, stores and the shops sometimes have to be found. But one of my favorites for breakfast is the Full Moon, where every full moon they actually stay open for dinner. And that's the only time of the month that they do serve dinner. But my wife and I also enjoy another restaurant called Inn of the Hawk. But again, the show is not about food reviews. So Kevin brought to my attention about a show on hot tubs. And Kevin, this is your show. So for any inquiries or topics, please email me at thehousewhisperershow@gmail.com or visit previous shows at thehousewhisperershow.com. And, of course, you can always visit www.dbam.com for podcasts. So all week, 24/7, if you miss me, well, you can always hear me again. So, Kevin, here we go. Hot tubs, are they worth it? And what about the maintenance? So, beginning, hot tubs have their own kind of niche. For anywhere from really $2,500 up to about $10,000, you can have your own personal pool delivered and set up by the vendor. Now, depending on the size, not only how many gallons will it hold, but how many people has to become a price choice. And so if you want 10 people in the pool, of course it's going to cost a little bit more to have that than 6 in the tub. So location also has to be determined. So many decks, depending on how they are constructed, may not be able to support a tub. So you have to get the weight of the tub as well as what it holds. And if need be, it's easy enough to go ahead and either construct an offshoot if you need to, or a carpenter can go ahead and double up the joists in order to support a tub. Back in 1990 some odd, when I built my home in Ocean City, when I spoke to my architect, I have a third-story deck that I wanted to have a hot tub on. So part of my planning stage, even back then, was to make sure that roof could support a hot tub. And it didn't come right away. I had to wait 2-3 years to get off the hot dog diet. But what it did take was a crane. And so, some hot tubs have to be delivered not only to the site, but they have to be put into place. So make sure that you budget accordingly. A patio may need to be poured, or you may want to consider maybe stamped concrete or even pavers. So location of the tub, like a pool, must be thought out and planned. And the only thing that I ask is do not put a tub in an enclosed porch, a basement, or anywhere where high humidity can wreak havoc with your home, as it can become a colossal mold issue. So during the summer, the water I keep cool. But for the winter, you're going to be ranging anywhere between 100 to 104 degrees. And those temperatures are typical. Anything warmer than body temperature, of course, is going to feel warm. But if you read the instructions, if you're putting your tub to 104 degrees, they do not suggest being in the tub for more than 20 minutes. Okay? So, and then if you're having that alcoholic beverage at the same time, your blood actually gets so thin that the alcohol is going to get to your brain that much faster. And when you hop out of the tub, it can cause dizziness and stumbling. So as you figure out where you want to put your tub, make sure that you don't have slippery surfaces around it. and make sure that things are properly pitched so that any water that splashes out of the tub, because you know it's gonna, doesn't freeze, and especially during the winter months. So you have to think safety too. So before you buy a tub, what are some of the requirements? And again, I think size is important. How big do you want it to be? How will you heat it? And I think this is why it's my second most important question. Most tubs use 50 amps on a 3-phase GFCI breaker that can be located in your panel. Typically, your temperature will rise about 3 degrees per hour, and that's about norm. If you have gas or propane at your home, you can think about putting in a boiler. And I have a boiler for my tub at home, so I actually have two, folks. That's why I thought this was a great topic. So you can lower the tub when you're done use from 100 to 104 down to about 65 degrees, but you can in turn raise it to 100 in about a half an hour. And one thing you're going to learn for those who already have a tub or thinking about it, bacterial growth will form a lot faster when the water remains at a higher temperature than if you lower the temperature. So that's why with my tub at home, if I'm planning on getting in after dinner, I can go ahead and raise the thermostat, activate the boiler, have dinner, and then the tub is ready for me.
Hey, Jack, I'm going to jump in here for just a minute because we have to take a little break and hear from some of our wonderful sponsors. Then we'll come right back with more information about a hot tub with Jack Milne.
Sounds good, Barry. Hold on, folks. We'll be right back.
Right after this.
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created t-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperers show.
As the temperatures gradually rise, so do the odds of all those filthy and unwanted critters invading your home like rodents, roaches, termites, and flies. Oh my! This summer, if you want to feel safe and secure from a possible creeping, crawling disaster, do yourself a favor and call the exterminating experts at Pest Blaster for all your pest control needs, including tests for radon and mold. Please visit pestblaster.com and you'll be sold. 215-295-5555.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 25 years. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They've performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. In PA, call 215-295-2030. In New Jersey, 856-853-4224.
Back with Jack Milne, and Jack has a great topic as usual. Today the topic is hot tubs, and Jack, let's get back to the hot tubs, or back into hot tubs. I don't know which.
Well, Barry, now that you and I are relaxing in this tub,
yeah, we should do the show from the hot tub.
We were talking about how to heat a hot tub.
Yeah.
And before the break, we were talking about installing a boiler. And it's not a very big boiler. They're made by various companies. Tropic Isle comes to mind. But there's also multiple manufacturers. It's going to run you about $1,500 to $2,000 more on top of the purchase of the tub. But again, it comes down to convenience. And of course, you need either gas or propane. So in the end, though, it's going to save you money because you're not keeping that electric meter spinning like a banshee during the winter months when those pumps and the heater will have to be on almost 24/7. So, as I mentioned, at the beach, I have a tub that runs on a dedicated 20-amp circuit. And it's also a 110 circuit. It does have an electric heater. But, because we use it for the summer, my wife and I like to have a cool tub, after the beach, where we can sit back and relax. But the kids like it hot. So
got a little problem there. Who wins?
It's a battle. It's truly a battle, Barry.
Yeah.
But a 110 circuit will raise the temperature very slowly. But at the same time, if they keep the heater on all night, by the time that, I raise the cover in the morning, it is typically too warm. And then, again, the heating of the water becomes important during the winter months, particularly from December through March. And at this point, the pumps and the heater, again, will almost run 24/7. Timers can be set to adjust the pump to on and off times. And I do that with my tub at home. So I may run the pumps for maybe 4 hours, give it an hour break, another 4 hours, give it an hour break, and then a couple hours, especially during the day when the sun's out. Then, I try to give my pumps a break. But it's very important because if we have extremely cold nights, and you know what they're like, folks, we get into the single digits. I have to bypass that timer and keep it on all the time. The other thing that's important is a good insulated cover. And they make covers from about an inch thick to about 3 inches thick. And the reason for the 3-inch thick covers is for small children. So my hot tub at home is actually embedded into the deck where I have about a 3-inch lip that people then step down into the tub. And you wouldn't believe it, but, a couple of years ago, one of my son's friends thought it was a trampoline. The tub cover was about $800, okay? And it was supposed to be childproof, but when this 60-pounder started jumping up and down on it, I think he was going to go up and down in the air, he cracked it. So that was a call I put into the parent I really didn't want to have to do, but I ended up having to replace the cover. The covers will last between 3 to 5 years. And because they are styrofoam, at some point they may become waterlogged just because of the vinyl that covers them tends to leak a little bit at the joints and the seams, but it does help keep the heat in. So that should be part of the purchase when you order your tub. Thinner covers, of course, are cheaper, and they don't last as long. But I can tell you in the winter, There's nothing better than snow on the ground and you jumping around the tub with steam coming off your body when the tub temperature is above 100 degrees. Most tubs will have a high limit setting of 104, and as I mentioned earlier, you're supposed to be in the tub for, end quote, less than 20 minutes. And again, alcohol, according to the directions and safety review, is supposed to be forbidden. So, again, with the warmer temperatures and alcohol, it's going to go to your brain a little bit quicker. So the moral of the story is don't set the temperature too hot. And, again, the other part is don't drink too much. Bacteria. As I mentioned earlier, bacterial growth will tend to fester, and I can't think of a better word, in hot tubs because of the warmer temperatures on a more constant basis. In pools, we use chlorine, but in hot tubs, we use a product called bromine. Bromine doesn't burn your eyes like chlorine, and especially when you're in hot water and your face is at water level, chlorine will not make your visit comfortable. But what you're going to have to do, and especially in the winter, when the temperatures are kept high, you're going to have to drain the water out of the tub more often. And I think of alcoholic drinks like beer, Bloody Marys, wine. They all contain yeast. And if by accident, in quote, it spills into the water, it's going to increase bacteria growth. Down the shore a few summers ago, it seemed like, my kids were right at that 20 and 21-year age. The beer seemed to spend more time in the pool than anywhere else. And I was actually draining my tub at the beach every 2 weeks. The bacteria count was so high that it took me about 45 minutes to drain it, clean it, and fill it. And so if you find that your water in your tub is becoming overly cloudy, they do make something called shock that you can use in swimming pools, but you can also use in hot tubs. And it is a clarifier. But sometimes I open that tub in the morning and the beer cans are floating around. I can't believe it. So out come the garden hoses, and I use this, and I siphon the tub. In most cases, folks, you might have to use a pool pump to pump the water out of your tub. So consider these like mini pools. They still take maintenance. My suggestion is if you know you don't want to run it over the winter, have it professionally closed because most of the lining inside that case is plastic, and it's PVC, and it's flexible tubing. So if you don't blow the lines out correctly, you don't remove the filter, and water tends to sit in any of those tubes, with winter and freezing, they are prone to split. Cost-wise, maybe $100 to $200, but if you just spent $6,000 on average for a tub, that $200 is nothing. So be aware of that. But again, with hot tubs, they do take. I personally feel a little bit more maintenance than a swimming pool because of the bacterial growth. So. If again you have this benefit of having gas, turn the temperatures down when you leave. When I clean mine, or when I close mine down over the summer at the beach, I get my shop vac out. The shop vacs have the potential of both drawing in and pumping out. So I take out my filter and my screen, and I do blow out the tub. I disconnect the lines at the pump, and I blow those lines out too. It's about a 2-hour process. But, when I leave in October, I may not see the house again until maybe March or April. So, as a house whisperer, once again, I've had 2 tubs. The one with gas at the home I truly enjoy, but the one at the beach I know gets more use, and there's going to be positives and negatives to both types. They do require maintenance, again, which includes pumps, water quality, ozone, pump replacement, shutting down for the winter, bleeding the lines, draining the pumps, the chemicals, the filters, the bromine, of course, the purchase, the kids, the teens, the adults. Too many hours in a New Year's day too many years ago. The Bloody Marys, I guess, poured out a little bit too strong, and we came down with a rash.
Oh,
so... be careful how you party in a tub because, at the end of the day and at the end of the party, do me a favor and clear it. So if you have any questions at any time regarding hot tubs, please email me at thehousewhisperershow@gmail.com. I'd be happy to spend more time with you. In lieu of spending $30,000 for a swimming pool and taking up half your yard, I think a personal pool is more friendly, unless you plan to swim laps. If you have a full-size pool, my opinion is, if you have a diving board, I would not suggest you keep it on site. Your insurance bills will tend to raise a little bit, and kids as well as adults can get hurt. They may not know where the bottom is. With big pools, you need a permit, you need fencing as per the local requirements. You're going to need landscaping. You're going to be regrading your site. So today's investments for a pool can start anywhere between $30,000 to $50,000. Out of a pool, you tend to keep them open from roughly Memorial Day to Labor Day. If you want to put in a propane or a natural gas heater, that may extend your swimming time maybe 2 weeks prior to Memorial Day and 2 weeks past Labor Day. So you might get a month for that expenditure of about $5,000 to $6,000 for that propane or natural gas boiler.
Hot tub sounds like a better way to go, according to what you're saying. Makes a lot of sense. We're out of time, Jack.
Barry, the time just flies.
Well, you know what? You can go jump in your hot tub now.
Yeah, there you go. So, as I like to say, folks, it's Sunday. Please spend time with friends and family. I look forward to talking to you next week on the House Whisperer Show.
All right, boy, it sounds like a nice, relaxing way to spend some time. I have to give that some thought. All right, we'll tune in again next week for another edition of the House Whisperer Show with, you just heard him, he's here every week, Professional Home Inspector Jack Milne. You never have to miss a show, because you can listen to previous programs at thehousewhisperershow.com, or you can go to www.dbam.com for a podcast. If you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com. This is Barry Reisman. Thanks to Jack Milne, and thanks to you for listening to WWDB.
There's a very, very, very fine house with 2 cats in the yard. Life used to be so hard. Now everything is easy 'cause of you.